Hi, I'm Peter Fosso. I'm an entrepreneur and founder of Global Music Project and owner of Stockholm Entrepreneurs and Seattle Entrepreneurs. Here with world-renowned speaker Eric Edmeades, and an entrepreneur as well, of course. So I wanted just to start off with just a really quick background of your background. What's brought you here today, and why should we all want to be like you, basically?
Well,
because we do, you know.
No, let's not do that. So, if there is one thing that I would inspire people to want to be like about me, it's building a business that doesn't take over your life. I think that's one thing that I'd really like to inspire people about. My background really is that we were immigrants to Canada when I was a kid. We came from South Africa. And I grew up there and went to school there and got my first job there, and I got involved in sales and marketing as a kid at 18, 19 years old. And then I went to work for a tech startup in Vancouver, Canada, and I worked with that company. I was actually the first full-time employee of the company. And over the next 6, 7 years, we'd grow the company to a multinational. We'd do very well. And then I had a fairly significant difference of opinion with the owner of the business, and decided that it was time for me to strike out on my own. And at that stage, I was in England, having opened up the European headquarters of the old company. So I started my first business at that stage. I guess I was about 27, and grew that business for 9 years. After about 6 years, I really had a solid version of business freedom, where coming and going from the office was completely, choice-based. I didn't have to be there, or if I did have to be there, it was not more than once a month or something like that. I built a business with quite a lot of automation and systemization, good training, good people. And I was very blessed with people. And I sold that company and took a couple of years off, just lecturing, just traveling around the world as a business lecturer, and I had a lot of fun about that. Like, a lot of fun. I spoke in over 20 countries and just met people from all over the world and had a blast with it. Then I got back in the business world, bought a Hollywood special effects company, and got involved in some other businesses in California. And then about 2 years ago, I decided, I really enjoy sharing. I really enjoy helping people have the business breakthroughs that they need to have. You see, it really irritates me that the vast majority of entrepreneurs will not succeed in their ventures. And what's even more painful to me than that is that the ones who do succeed, they do it with a lot of hard work, and they do it with excessive hours, and they do it often for less pay than they should, and they do it at the cost of their health and their families. And so I just really enjoy coming along and giving people the little shifts they need to move from what I think of as a kind of form of entrepreneurial slavery to a world of entrepreneurial freedom.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with that, is that people, well, like me, we were working our asses off. And how can we avoid that? And I guess that's one of the things that you cover in Business Freedom, the workshop. And are there any other tips that come to mind about that? Just to How do you systemize something if you're starting a startup, for example, and you're working your ass off with your startup? What's one of the steps you can take toward that business freedom and
that's a really good question.
Having free time,
Yeah, it's a very good question. So the first thing I think is I kind of need to offer you a definition of entrepreneurship. I can't remember where I heard it. I've probably kind of twisted around and made it my own a little. I don't know, but roughly, I think of entrepreneurship as the opportunity to, for a year or 2 or 3, to work maybe a little harder and to stretch your comfort zones a little more than other people are willing to, so that you can construct a life that other people can't even dream of having. That's what I believe entrepreneurship is. What many people turn entrepreneurship into is working really hard, struggling to stay alive, and being trapped by the business for years on end. And so I'm very, very clear that business is supposed to be about personal freedom and lifestyle. That's really what it is supposed to be about. And one of the challenges that people have is that they really believe that they have to do everything for themselves. And it kind of comes down, I often say this, it comes down to this sort of education paradigm. If you're in school and you were not distinctly and specifically told to work with a partner, and then you work with a partner, what do they call it? Cheating. Right? So we were conditioned from the beginning that we're supposed to do everything on our own. And entrepreneurship is never supposed to be something you're doing on your own. Not only should we have employees and should we bring in partners and be able to delegate responsibilities, and equally we should have peers. We should have other entrepreneurs, some that are ahead of us on the path, some that are behind us on the path, so that we're both learning and teaching all the time. And as a result of that, we're really creating a very solid entrepreneurial mindset. And for example, if you find yourself working entirely too hard in your business, there's many reasons why that might be happening. One of the most common ones is that you're under some delusion that you can do it better than everyone else. And that delusion is a very, very real illusion. And the reason it's a very real illusion is that we compare ourselves at our best against somebody else at their beginning. And so we go to hire somebody to take over a job that we're currently doing, and we think they can't do it as well as us. And you're right, they can't, except for the one problem is that if you're that busy, you're not getting it done. And so the fact is what you should be doing is comparing them against your reality. And your reality is sometimes, maybe not you, but for many of us, procrastination, deadlines, and then stressful finishes of that project, which means you're not doing it at your top form. And so I think that illusion needs to be snapped for a lot of people in order to get to a place where they can start to work toward real business freedom.
Yeah, because one of the things that drives you as an entrepreneur is that you can do something better than everyone else, right?
Yeah.
So and in fact, that's why the investor is putting money in you. If you are funded, then it's like, well, you're the person that can do this better than anyone, and that's why you're getting the money.
Yeah, there's a subtle distinction though. I was asked to do an interview for a book on dyslexics, and because I'm dyslexic, and of course, during the interview, the woman told me that Richard Branson is dyslexic and Bill Gates is dyslexic, and then she said, Eric, well, why do you think there's such an unfair representation of dyslexics in the entrepreneurship world? Like, so many entrepreneurs are dyslexic. What's going on there? And I go, well, I first have this answer that, frankly, university doesn't work very well for us when you're dyslexic. That's like spelling, numbers, writing, grammar, all that stuff is a little harder. And so the university, the environment where there's only one way to communicate, where there's a right and wrong with the language, that's really challenging for dyslexics. So they're not generally going to make it through the academic churning.
Did you go all the way through?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I didn't either. I started my first company skipping out.
Yeah, I barely survived high school, never mind going to university. I never even walked. As a matter of fact, years later, I did go and study archaeology at university for a while, but I was in my 30s. Like, that was not anything to do with what I was doing for a career. It was purely about hobby. And, so I think that that whole influence on education is going to have a big impact on the way we address those things.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So you mentioned team. How does one find that business partner that's going to help go all the way through to the end with you?
We stop hiring the people that are exactly like us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Because that's a natural human tendency, right? It's like, oh, I like this person because they're like me.
Yeah. You go to the interview, you're interviewing them. This is how the interview works. Well, thank you for coming in for the interview. I'm glad you came. I started this business 5 years ago. We did this, we did that, and then we created this vision, and we're launching this new software, and now we're building a team to help build up the business so we can take over the world. And then the person comes back to you in the interview, and they go, oh my God, that's so exciting. That's exactly the kind of company that I'd like to work with. It's like, it's so incredible and intense, and I've had these ideas and these are creativities, and I think you're right. If we did this and this, we could take over the world. And you're going,
yeah, you share my vision. That's my vision. Perfect.
And so you hire them, and then now you spend the next 6 months arguing about what you get to do and arguing about what you have to do, because you both want to do the same things and you both don't want to do the same things.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, interesting. So just look for those, find the opposite, find someone you almost don't get along with.
Yeah.
Practically.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's a little bit of a joke, but the other way that interview works is, hey, this is our vision, we're growing the business, we're doing this, we're doing that, it's fantastic and amazing. And then the person goes, how long do you expect this to take? Do you have a budget for this? How much is that going to cost? And our reaction to that is, man, this person is a killjoy. This person's a party pooper, man. I'm not hiring them. They're just a negative person. No, they're a realist. And sometimes we need a few realists around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what's one bit of, just to end, one bit of advice that you would an entrepreneur, bit of advice for the entrepreneurs out there?
It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun.
Now you tell them.
It is. It's supposed to be fun. Being a business owner is supposed to enhance the quality of your life. Otherwise, why would we do it? many business owners, they leave a job. They leave a job before they become a business owner. Well, they must on some level have believed that being a business owner was somehow going to be better than having a job, right? Only frankly, many of them don't have that experience. Many of them lose their businesses, or many of them end up trapped in businesses where now instead of having one job, they have 12 jobs. And so I think the biggest takeaway is to remember that it is supposed to be fun, that being a business owner is supposed to be enhancing the quality of your life. And if you keep that vision, if you keep that energy, then then I think that you are much more likely to end up on the right road.
Very good. Thank you very much, Eric.
You're welcome.
Good to see you.
Good to see you again.